Snehanshu's product is something called an app called Kaagaz. They are releasing Kaagaz in the US right now. Okay, and today's talk, as we do all our talks, it is on data and AI. And Snehanshu is into product development, and I hope to learn something more about strategies of product development and how typically AI could help us over there, and how AI might impact product development strategy everywhere.
How is high quality development working in your organization? Obviously, as a product company, obviously engineering requirements are far more stringent. And whether you are using chat or your team is using ChatGPT to write.
I'm an engineer, but not a computer science engineer. Learned a little bit of coding while I was in college, but my coding stays till HTML, CSS. Nothing. JavaScript maybe a little bit. Nothing after that. My first startup was in when I was in IT in my final year. There was a platform called India Interns that we built for internships from back in 2006-07. But fast forward in between, did consulting, the usual track for people coming from IT who are not going into technical streams. Did consulting for a while. Did MBA from ISB Hyderabad. And then decided to start up in 2015, which was a home services business. So something similar to an urban clap, but focused on tier 2 India. Till that time, there was nothing AI per se. I was not even thinking AI. The first thought of AI came in 2019 when I had a personal... So I was having challenges with respect to managing my documents, my personal documents for myself and my family. Things like various ID cards, insurance documents, investment, stuff like that. And it has to be something better because I started doing this in Excel and putting stuff on cloud storage and trying to do and then share it with my wife. But I realized it requires a lot of effort. It should be automated. Otherwise, this is going to fizzle out. I'll do it for a month and then eventually it will fizzle out. So it has to be automated. And that's where the first thought came that maybe now AI has come to that stage that if I upload a document, it should be able to organize it and then identify that is there a renewal date to it and set up a reminder for me and do all of that automatically. So that's how the first thought of AI came in. This was 2019. While we were kind of still doing TapMe and thinking of moving out. And that's when I spoke to my co-founder, Tamanjeet, who heads technology for us. And he said, for these kind of documents that you're talking about, I think we can build it. And till that time, the generative AI that we are talking about now, since last 1 year, it was not that common. And he said natural language processing is what we'll use. And take out the text from the documents and run an NLP engine on it and identify some key parameters of it and then organize this information for you. So I think this is doable. That's how Sorted AI got formed. It had its own challenges with respect to whenever I spoke to anyone that, we are building something like this, would you like to use it? Everyone said, this is what is missing in my life. If I had this, all my documents will get organized. But when we gave the app to people, we saw that people are not uploading documents. And until someone uploads a document, the AI can't do anything. So that's where we were kind of facing challenges with respect to Sorted AI. And then Kaagaz was launched in June of 2020. Scanning as a basic requirement for the Bharat users who've gotten to internet and to a digital life for the first time and are kind of pushed into using technology thanks to the COVID lockdowns and working from home and school from home. And we realized that this audience doesn't know that scanning, etc., can be done using phones because you're using Kaagaz to scan documents and send to someone. So the document is already here. Now, if I can bring AI to it, it could, start doing that magic. So that's how, Sorted AI was. And our thinking early on with respect to AI at that point. Now, of course, we are thinking more around what generative AI can do. I think the moment kind of ChatGPT was launched last year is when I started thinking about how do we use it, how does it impact us. With the hype that got created around it, across industry, I believe, the immediate responses were two types. One is paranoia around this is going to kill everything, or just dismissing it. This is another cycle. like you had for crypto, like you had for NFTs. This is also going to be one cycle. You don't have to bother. Those are the kind of two responses that I saw initially. And our response was more on the paranoia side, that we need to do something. We don't know what, because this is moving so fast, but we need to be aware of what's happening. And that's where we started playing with ChatGPT. Today, I use it extensively to experiment around things that I'm thinking, or even do some kind of research. I have people in the team who are using it for coding as well. Output has not been, they've been trying the Copilot as well, and now Android has got inbuilt, the latest Android version has got also AI into it. So they're exploring that. Still, from a developer's point of view, they're saying boilerplate code is fine, but it doesn't yet know all the depth of our existing product. So we're not sure, can we get output directly? I personally, as I said, my limitation around coding is is there. So for me, it's great. I can now make a website on my own without having to, go to a developer and ask, can you help me with this? So that's something what we are doing. Let me give also a brief on what Kaagaz does. So Kaagaz is more like an Adobe for Bharat, where you can scan documents, you can store them on cloud, you can organize them on your phone, you can edit PDFs, you can make some designs using Kaagaz. So we have a bunch of these features. DigiLocker is one part of it. In fact, DigiLocker could also be integrated into Kaagaz as a solution within Kaagaz.
You essentially scan documents in Kaagaz, right? Anything is there, it will come as a PDF, right? So when you look at using AI in your product, right, where do you see it? Coming more like from images being read or a PDF document, or do you see it more like a text problem? Do you really see this kind of dichotomy sometimes? And where do you guys see these PDF documents or these graphs, everything? How do you guys think about it somewhere?
2 or 3 directions that we are currently exploring, thinking about. One is the first one that you said, PDFs are already there. What can we do on that? So I saw that Shorthills also got one product where, PDF summarizing, and you can talk to your PDF, those kind of products you've built. So similarly, our thought is, there are 7 million people who have uploaded over 150 million documents on Kaagaz over the last 3 years. Now, can we make those documents more useful for that user by introducing something like this? A layer over it, where now I know there are people who are uploading 300, 500 pages documents. Sometimes these are students uploading books. Sometimes these are some business uploading a contract. So can I build a layer above it where I can use generative AI and get this document more useful for this user? So that's one direction. We've got a poster maker feature, which is similar to Canva, that you can make posters. Templatized posters are there. You can quickly get personalized posters for everything. One thought has been around, can this whole, using DALL-E or Midjourney or any of the Stable Diffusion APIs, etc., can we make this part automated? That people just write in that I need poster for this, and there's something generated for them. We are still debating that, is that the right use case, which is also what I see happening a lot, that the paranoia that we spoke about, after the paranoia, usually some people will just look at the low-hanging fruits and say, let's do this, get some PR out that we are also using generative AI. Or then you dig further, that is this really required at this stage? Or you need to find the important use cases which actually make sense. So we thought, okay, I can give a poster maker option where image can be generated through a prompt, but is my user ready to create a proper prompt which will give them the output that they need? Which, at least in our context, is not there yet. Our user would struggle giving a proper prompt for ChatGPT or DALL-E to make a poster for them. For me, it takes a few tries to get the output that I want. So now, from a product angle, we could kind of make that prompt engineering as part of our product. That's a possible outcome, but we're still exploring that angle. The third bit comes is, because we have a distribution of over 3.5 million monthly active users, can we offer some extra services which are built on generative AI, for related to their documents. One was the PDF reading bit, but can we do something more where we can, help them create some kind of content or build on that? So that's the third track that we are kind of exploring at the moment.
And you said the user right now in tier 2 cities is not ready to write a prompt. I mean, I would even say, tier 1 cities also guys are not ready to write a prompt to that extent.
I don't think they need to do that also. It's our job as product builders to figure out what is the easiest way for them to get the job done. For us, it's technology that we want to play with. For them, it's one job that they want to get done. They want to make a poster. Now, you make that poster by taking a stock photo and doing something on it, or use generative AI for that. They don't really care. For them, it's, I need a Happy Diwali poster. You give me a Happy Diwali poster that I want. From a prompt point of view, I still believe, even if, I'm sure they learn how to prompt, but prompting is just the base technology. The principle over this is, how do we get them to make a poster or whatever they want to do in the easiest possible way. So if I can just say, select what do you want the poster for, they select Diwali, and then they select, okay, I want it in Hindi or English or whatever language, and then one more option, and then based on this I create a prompt and kind of generate something for them. A lot of these users do not even have English as their primary language. They want to write in whatever language they have, and the models, at least till now, are not that great for Indian languages. Eventually they will get there. There are Indian models also being made. So that will happen, but I still believe that core technology is going to impact, but product building will still have to come from what user wants and what is the easiest way to get that done.
So what has been your experience around use of AI in a language like, say, Tamil or even Hindi for that matter? So do you really see any kind of data patterns, anything that you see over there? Are there any LLMs that you guys have tried to use for your users, something on those lines?
We haven't tried any models yet, we've just tried using ChatGPT and see if we can get some output in Hindi or Telugu, some of the Indian languages. The challenge is that there is an output, but you can't be 100% sure that it's going to be correct. And that context of the language gets missing, which is a challenge we tried using translation as well earlier, that if I have content in English from ChatGPT, can I just use translate and get it into the language that I want? But the translation also has a challenge that it misses the context. And that can be tricky for us to just go on and say that, we are going to use this. Especially in languages that we don't understand, there's no way for us to even check if that is correct or not. So at the moment, we see that Hindi may be something, but over and above that, you get an output, but we've not been confident enough to just use it as it is. There will be, I hope, there are models being made in India which recently have been launched, and I hope that they are able to do a better job of it.
Now, typically, given that you have 3.5 million active users and the 23 million downloads, so that's a huge number. And now, tell us something funny about the kind of user behavior that you have seen, and who really uses this in what funny way.
First thing, we regularly get people scanning more than 1,000 pages in a document, which was, we thought, like, who are they? What are they doing? Even we were questioning, like, actually, is there a use for that kind of a thing? 1,000 pages scanning. We had to. The first thing was doubt the data. If data probably is not correct, this cannot be true. And then we thought, if this is happening regularly, that means there is some behavior. And that's when we realized that there are books getting scanned. A lot of these users are students who are scanning books and sharing amongst...
not class notes?
1,000 pages, there's no class notes of that much, but class notes, yes, definitely there's a big use case there that people are using it regularly for.
Coming to a different dimension altogether, right? Because you're now storing personal data and documents of users, right? And given that you're dealing with such sensitive data, medical records, I had been using Kaagaz to store all my medical records everywhere. A lot of users are worried whether the documents can get leaked, more so coming from an Indian company. How did you really, think about these issues? How did you really address these issues? What special features did you use, or something? Can you talk about that?
When we started, cloud, and the first thought was around this, that how do we give comfort to the users that your data is safe? The first thing that we did was we made uploading your documents your choice. So it's not a default upload. You don't need to sign in mandatorily to scan documents using Kaagaz. You can use it without signing in. We may ask you to sign in again because that gets us an opportunity to kind of keep your documents safe in case something happens to your phone, etc. But you can continue to use Kaagaz without signing in. And even when you sign in, you always have an option of, do I want to back up my documents or not? So to use a certain feature, we may ask you to sign in, but you can decide not to back up. So there's a switch. Just in the settings, you can switch it off that I don't want any of my documents to be backed up. If you want to selectively back up, you can do that also. So consent was the first most important thing that we did, that it is your decision. If you want to put it on cloud, of your decision. If you don't want it, your decision. The choice part, the consent part is the most important part to give that comfort to the users, that if I don't want it, I can decide. And if there are users sometimes who would come and say, I want to delete my all data, which is also what we immediately provide, that there's no kind of challenge on that. They can just WhatsApp us and say, this is my account and I want to remove all my documents. We do that and then let them, kind of continue using it without that. So most important has been giving that control to the user. Second is, of course, we do encryption to make sure that, even on our servers, it is safe. No one can access those documents. There's leakage issues are not there, etc.
What's your first thought when the production got crashed, or in developer language, code fad gaya? So what's your first thought about it and how you deal with that?
Honest first thoughts, I'll probably not express here. But I mean, that happens. It is code. Eventually, there could be some glitches that can happen there. In our case, we've kind of been fortunate in terms of, the whole app is developed in a way that it works on the user's device. So we don't have that infrastructure challenge that फट गया तो सभी का फट गया टाइप से वैसा इशू नहीं होता है. बट इफ देयर सम बग दैट गोज इनटू द प्रोडक्शन एंड दैट बिकम्स लाइक अ यूजर इशू, we have to kind of stop the build. We usually do a slow rollout, so we immediately stop the build and then kind of get a new update rolled out. So yeah, that's the usual process. First time in three and a half years, our servers crashed on Diwali day, morning 7 o'clock around for a couple of hours, because posters bit got a lot of rush coming in on Diwali day, and it crashed for a couple of hours. So yeah, we had that episode once, but I mean, it's a good moment also for us from that perspective that so much traffic came, which we were not prepared for.
What kind of challenges business faces when integrating the generative AI into their product strategies?
From our perspective right now, is the biggest challenge that we're kind of thinking about is the data privacy part. So we are not making our own models right now. We have to use some APIs. How does the security bit works here? Because this is users' data. We have to kind of put it somewhere else and then do something. So that's one challenge that we are consciously thinking about.
Do you also plan to cater to, let's say, large enterprises in a B2B segment? And second, do you have plans of expansion as well? If yes, how do you plan to market it?
So we are also being ambitious and I don't know if foolish, but if Adobe doesn't mean anything, so why should Kaagaz not be a product that everyone could use? Right. It's not that it's document scanner name. So why should Kaagaz not be used by anyone? So that's how we are thinking, and it's going to be Kaagaz in US. We have already launched in US, and it's going to be called Kaagaz. With respect to B2B and building all of that, right now our focus is B2C. This is what we understand well. B2B requires a different kind of mindset, from product development to sales to everything is different, and that's not, at least right now, our core. And we believe B2C has a large opportunity still available. So we'll continue to focus on this. There are some elements of, what would an enterprise need is something that we are also trying to bring in, that, a desktop version or a web version could be something that a B2C client also needs. And we are slowly looking to add those things, but still going to stay B2C for a considerable amount of time.
It's good to, have this session, and I hope this session was as unstructured as it could be, right? Because we promised Snehanshu that it will be completely unstructured. We'll just speak our minds and let's see where it goes. And this was very, interesting, and we hope to have more sessions on this. Paramdeep?
We are very thankful to you for coming and then sharing your expertise, advice, your experiences. I think primarily, which I think no generative AI can ever have.
Thank you so much for having me, and I think shared more of my experience only. Expertise for sure. AI, we are still figuring out things for ourselves. So a lot of experiences that I could, whatever I could share.